So now we're going to be going backwards. We don't know if the lines are parallel. The last section, we said, if they're parallel, then. Okay? Now we're going to say, if some facts, then they're parallel. So we're going to go back. It's going to be a switch. So we don't know if the lines are parallel yet. They won't have the marks on them. You're going to be determining if they are or not. Yes. So I had you get out your postulates. I want you to notice that there are some blanks. The very first assignment question for this unit will be for you to write these in. But we're going to talk about them. I'm not going to have you write them in and right now, and I'm not suggesting that you even write them here. I'm suggesting you put them in your postulate books so that you don't double write. I mean, you could double write them. That's going to be really good for your brain. But you could write them on here and then put them into your postulate book, but I'm not suggesting that. The reason I did not put them in here is because you know how to write converse. We did that last chapter. And so I wanted you to get more practice instead of me having a whole assignment that says write the converse of somebody, if a train goes 100 miles an hour, it's going too fast, or something really crazy. Instead of you doing something that's unnecessary, I'm going to have you write the converses of these. Amy, your mom gave you the answers already, so I would suggest that you don't, because that would be, I'm trying to keep you a moral character here.
So can I cheat?
And so, no, you cannot cheat. But let's talk about the first one. Up here, the corresponding angle postulate says, if two lines are cut by a transversal, then the corresponding angles are congruent. How would I write the converse?
So if two corresponding angles are congruent, then they're cut by a transversal?
No. If two lines are cut by a transversal and
the two lines are parallel?
No, because the then parallel is the part we have to have. We have to have then parallel. So if two lines are cut by a transversal and
Converse, huh?
Wait, if
Converse is just flipping it, right?
right, it is. The converse is flipping it, but I need the corresponding angles congruent first.
Wait, if the pairs of corresponding angles are
that's what I said.
congruent, then parallel lines are cut by transversal. That's what
Two-
you just said.
That's what the converse would be.
Just a second.
Then
Let
two
me write this out.
parallel lines.
Not if two parallel lines.
No,
Don't put the parallel
That's not
part.
what we said.
Go ahead.
We said, where is it?
If the pairs
If two pairs of course, if the pairs of corresponding angles are congruent, then two parallel lines are cut by a transversal.
No, because I could have, watch, I want to show you this. If I had two lines that are like this, and then I had a transversal.
We said two parallel lines that were cut by a transversal.
No, because we need the then parallel to be at the end.
But that's not a converse.
It will be. Watch. Okay? So the part that's really important is not that the parallel part is the part that's the important part. It's the cut by a transversal. I could have lots of lines cut by a transversal. I could have lines that are not parallel be cut by a transversal. These are called corresponding, but they might not be congruent. But if these original lines were parallel, then those would be congruent. So I need the then parallel to be at the end. So let's go this. So it would go like this. If two lines, not parallel, if two lines.
Oh wait, are we writing that?
Sure. Are cut by a transversal. I'm writing this for you. You might want to write it down. And corresponding angles are congruent, then it might be a little head. Oh, slow down. Then what do you think?
Then parallel lines are cut by a transversal.
Then the lines are
Then the lines are
parallel.
cut
parallel.
parallel.
Okay. The cool thing is you have a name for this. It's the converse of the corresponding angles postulate. That's only 6 words instead of 16 words to put on when you do proofs. The trick is going to be when do I write converse as a reason, and when do I not write converse for a reason? You're going to have corresponding angle postulate, and you're going to have converse of the corresponding angle postulate. When do you know which one to use?
When you're finding parallel, wouldn't you use the converse? If you're having to prove that something is parallel, but if you're wanting to prove that two angles are congruent.
Yes, so if you're trying to prove parallel, I don't know why I spelled that out, because then you use the converse. You might want to write that down. If you're proving parallel, you use the converse. I did one of these for you. You will do the other 3. I did part of number 1 of your homework. Okay? If 2 lines are cut by a transversal and corresponding angles are congruent, then the lines are parallel. These, since the converse and the original are true, what kind of statement could be written all in one? What of those conditional statements mean back? Yes, it's a biconditional. So you could have said, I don't know how to write that as a biconditional, so I'll have to think about it. The if and only if thing, okay? All right.
2 parallel lines are, wait.
I know, because one you have to have parallel at the beginning, one you have to have parallel at the end, and I don't know if you can write a biconditional. I mean, with English, I don't know if you can, but it's allowed to be written logically, okay? All right. So we looked at the converse and blanks on your postulate pages. If you hadn't already, some of you haven't written them in your postulate book, so we put it there so you can transfer it. All right, so now, are these parallel, yes or no? All right? They're on your note sheet. I have these here, okay? So I've given those to you in your notes. I know we're flipping around a lot. Get back to your notes. We're going to start with this top one. Yes is P parallel to Q. It might look it, but based on the information,
No.
what kind of angles are these?
It's parallel. Well,
These are the same.
congruent.
These are congruent.
Yeah.
And what is the
Correspond.
Those are not corresponding.
Alternate exterior.
They're alternate exterior. Do alternate exterior have to be congruent, or do they have to be supplementary?
Congruent.
So, if 2 lines are cut by a transversal and the alternate exterior angles are congruent, then they're parallel. So I heard already someone say yes. You can put a yes under there. What would be the theorem that would tell us?
Alternate exterior.
Careful. The converse of the alternate exterior. And I'm going to be if you get this wrong while we're talking about it, be thankful that you're not writing it down and getting a grade on it. So if I correct you, please don't feel, so it was the converse of the alternate exterior angles. Okay? You can put theorem if you want. Converse, alternate exterior. All right. Let's go over to this one now. Next one right next door. Is P and Q parallel, yes or no? What kind of angles are these? Are these same side interior? Look at your little red part. The same side interior need to be supplementary or equal? Supplementary. Okay, so then we need to check. Heidi, I saw you had a calculator. Were you checking to see if those added to 180? Did they? They do add to 180. They are supplementary. So yes, they are. But what's the reason?
Converse of the same side interior.
Very good. The converse of the same side interior angles theorem. The only one that's a postulate is the corresponding ones. They're all of them. Yes. All right. P and Q. The next one over here on the side here are those parallel. We need to look at the picture we had in our red notes. All right, what kind of angles are those?
Corresponding.
I heard corresponding, and then I see a shake of a head not corresponding. I can tell people are thinking.
Oh no, they're not corresponding.
They're not corresponding. What kind are they? There are none of them that you have. So that means that's the only way they're going to be parallel is those four things. If it's not one of those four things, are they parallel?
No.
No. Okay. All right, let's go to this one down here. I'm going to change colors because I want to. All right. Are these parallel, yes or no? First, we need to decide, are those corresponding, same side interior, alternate exterior?
That's yeah, alternate interior.
Alternate interior, do they need to be congruent or supplementary? Congruent. Are they congruent?
Yes.
Yes. The reason?
Converse.
Converse.
Alternate interior.
Alternate interior. And I have not been consistent with my converse. I wrote CON once and CONV another, so we'll do that. Alternate interior angles. Okay. Next one. Are those parallel? What kind of angles are the 105s? I heard corresponding. I have two people. No one's shaking their head no. Do we agree that they're corresponding? They are. Okay, so they're parallel. Yes. Reason?
Converse of
Mhm.
the corresponding
Yeah.
something or other.
Yeah.
Corresponding angle postulate.
Yeah, and you
That
can
was
put
a
postulate if you
postulate.
want. We haven't been writing theorem on the others.
I have been.
You could if you wanted to. I haven't been.
By any chance, do these have abbreviation? Oh.
I have been.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm like writing all this out.
Yeah. I know. And actually, you seeing these, and if you didn't get them now, you can go back to the video and you can use these abbreviations if you wanted. I've just kind of been making them up as I go. Okay? All right. The last one. Is P and Q parallel? They're vertical. We had
So
four.
those have to be congruent.
Does these two angles have anything to do with Q?
No.
No.
Nothing to do with Q.
So
Vertical
no.
angles do not show parallel, okay? So you might want to get your little red notes out and write yourself a note about the top two do not tell you about parallel. They just tell you about the angles. Those top two do not, they're always true whether you're parallel or not. So the converses of those do not do anything. So these top ones, the vertical and the linear pairs, the adjacent ones do not prove parallel at all. So no. Questions? So we have four things that prove parallel, and we have four things that if they're parallel, we have relationships. Okay? Back and forth. All right. That was just practice, so we could learn some stuff to do some homework stuff. I have the very first page there on your 3.4. Thank you. 3.4. I want to do the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with you. Very similar to what we were just doing.
Wait, where's one?
Just looks a little different.
and 3.
If K and L are parallel, and here's the given. 7 is congruent to 3. Does that help us to know that those are parallel? I have to mark them. I have to look at them. You might have to mark them very lightly because you'll erase this. This one will only apply to this one. 7 and 3. Does 7 and 3 being congruent make L and K parallel?
Yes.
And so it says if yes, write the reason. If no, you just say no. Okay?
I don't know what to choose.
All right. So what kind of angles are 7 and 3?
Corresponding.
They're corresponding. So so if I say yes, I'm going to have to, let me clear the screen here. Yes. And the reason?
Converse of corresponding angles.
Very good. We
postulate.
have to have converse, corresponding angles. And you want to say postulate if you want at the end. It is a postulate and not a theorem.
Speaking of that, let me fix.
Now, 7 and 3 are not congruent when we go to the next one. Okay, so this is not steps of a proof. This is so now, if 1 and 8 equal 180, are they parallel? So let's look at 1 and 8. I'm not marking them. I shouldn't mark them as congruent. I'm just going to put a circle around so I can my eye. Okay, so if 1 and 8 are supplementary in a sense, are those lines parallel? What kind of angles are 1 and 8?
Alternate interior.
Alternate interior. Are alternate interior supposed to be supplementary?
No.
They're supposed to be. So are they parallel?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. And do I have to say a reason?
No.
No, just say no. I'm going to now erase my markings up there because they don't apply. I'm going to move down to 7 and 1. Being congruent. I have to mark them for my own eye. 7 and 1. If they're congruent, are those lines parallel? What kind of angles are those, Brett?
Side interior.
Are they same side interior? Is she right? Okay, what does the relationship have to be for same side interior?
Supplementary.
They have to be supplementary. And it says that they're congruent. So are they parallel? No, they're not. I'm going to erase up here.
Oh, yours are.
What, George?
8 and 2 are 180. That's our next one. I have to put something. 8 and 2. 8 and 2. All right, I want you to tell me the relationship. Don't tell me, actually, when you have figured out if these are corresponding or same side interior or alternate exterior or alternate interior, just give me a hands up because I want to know. Okay, I've got 2 people who know, 3 people who know.
Still writing it down.
That's fine. Heidi, have you figured out what kind of things these are? Are these alternate, same side, corresponding? What are they?
Same side.
They're same side interior. Who knows what kind of relationship they have to have? Let me see if are they supposed to be equal or supplementary? Raise your hand if you know. Brett, what are they supposed to be? They're supposed to be supplementary. Does it say they're supplementary?
Yes.
Are they parallel?
Yeah.
Yes. So what's the reason?
Converse, the same side and interior.
Okay, converse, same side. Angles. It's a theorem. You could write the rest of that out if you'd like.
Oh, so many words.
You at least don't have to write if 2 lines are
Well, I
cut by a
wrote con,
transversal
same side,
and the corresponding and the same side interior angles are supplementary, then they're parallel. I'm going to just tell you, Amy, I had to write the whole postulate theorem out when I was in school. So
That's what
I'm doing nice for you, giving you a name. Okay. All right.
Oh,
Last.
you had to write the whole postulate.
I had to write if 2
Like,
lines are cut by a
seriously?
transversal and the same side interior angles are supplementary, then they're parallel. On my proofs too.
Whoa.
I tell you what,
Did you
I
have
make
a
life
collab
easy for you and you still whine.
Well, no, I'm writing down all the extra notes for it so I don't forget when I'm
Yes.
at home and I'm like,
Good job.
ah.
All right, 4 and 5. I'm going to erase up here because I have to see it. I got to mark it. 4 and 5. All right, I want to know a hands up if you know what kind of relationship that is. Is it same side? Is it alternate? Is it exterior? Josie, can you tell me which one that is? They're exterior. Are they same side or alternate? You were right the first time. Alternate. Okay, you were right the first time. All right, now raise your hand if you know the relationship. Congruent, supplementary. Got 1 person who knows. 2 people who know. 3 people who know. You got a little iffiness going on. Brett, what is it?
Congruent.
I heard they're supposed to be congruent. Is that true? Yes. Okay, they are congruent. It says so. So are they parallel? Yes. Reason.
Converse.
Mm-hmm.
of the
Converse of
Exterior.
alternate
angle.
exterior
Is this one?
angles. Theorem.
Yeah, that is the theorem. Okay.
Good job. And that was a theorem also.
Converse of the
Corresponding was a
exterior
postulate.
angle theorem. Converse of the...
Okay. This is what you're going to do on all the rest of them on this page. You're going to figure out what relationship it is. Is it alternate exterior? Is it alternate interior? Is it, and then is it supposed to be congruent? Is it supposed to be supplementary? Are they parallel? Yes or no?
Theorem.
All right.
Oh, it's...
All right. Still more practice. These, I think, are going to be really nice. You've been doing these all along. There's just a little bit of twist in your mind. Numbers 4 and 5. It's the first ones, I believe, on that page. You've been doing this kind of thing all along. And it says, find the measure of the indicated angle that make them parallel. Okay? So you're supposed to think of this as they're not parallel. The last assignment, they were parallel. And now you're supposed to look at it and say, they're not parallel, but what does the angle have to be so that they will be parallel? So the question mark up there on the left-hand side, are those two, same side interior, alternate exterior, alternate interior, corresponding, what? Alternate interior. Are they equal or supplementary? Equal. All right. So if this one is 73, then the question mark has to be 73. There don't, and in this case, you don't have to give me a reason. You just have to write, okay?
Well, that's writing.
But you probably needed to know the reason to figure it out, right? Okay. All right. Number 5. Number 5.
Same
To
side
make these
interior.
parallel, that's supposed to be same side what?
Interior.
Same side interior. Same side interior is supposed to be supplementary.
Yes.
Help me with the calculator. What's 180
117.
minus 63? What did you get?
117.
117. Please verify.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Yes, it is.
Okay, fantastic. 100. There's supplementary. We had to subtract. I would suggest you actually do write this step out. When I'm grading your tests and quizzes, if you don't have anything there, I don't know that you didn't just guess and come up with something strange. And so that would give you some points for showing work and for partial credit. If you accidentally put in your calculator wrong, I at least can give you something for this. Okay? If you put it in your calculator wrong and got 100 and you put a 5 instead of a 3 or something and you put the wrong answer here, at least I knew that you knew what you were doing. You just made a computation error. If you didn't write anything, I think you just randomly picked some number out of the universe, okay?
563.
Yeah, 563.
Why do you go with the
All right. This is what we learned in this unit. We now have the converses for all the parallel postulate theorems. Now we can prove lines are parallel. If we have information, we can say, I don't know if those lines are parallel. Are they? And then you can look at the information and say, yep, they are because the corresponding angles are congruent. Or, yes, they're parallel because the alternate interior angles are congruent, and so forth.